recently got asked a question about back hollowing with the bowl gauge. This is something that's took me a while to master. I think I first mastered it, well, if you can call master it, successfully did it with the spindle gauge. The spindle gauge just seems to be a little bit less forgiving. Now, the way I do this could be totally wrong to what others suggest. It's just the way I've worked out how to do it, and it's also probably based on the grind I have on my spindle gauge here, my bowl gauge, and it's the same sort of ground as I have as my spindle gauge, which is there, just at a different angle. And the way I've worked this out is that where you've got your tool straight up there, I always usually start off and carry on at 45 degrees. So the flute is pointing up this way. My tool rest is also set to its lowest, which again, everybody's tool rests could be totally different. The centre of the bowl is there, so I'm only literally probably a finger width from the top. So having my bowl gauge flat, I'm just below centre. And like I say, I will start off on the centre there at 45 degrees. I will try and stay at 45 degrees, and I've found that it's almost like you're pushing in to start with to dig the hole, and that's probably about the most pressure you'll ever put, that I will put on it. And the idea is then that you will rotate round from the point, so that you rotate the whole handle around like that as you come across. If you're coming up, then I've found as well that you then have to have a lot lighter pressure, so otherwise you will get a catch. And so the idea is really to try and keep this top edge away from the wood. If you get this top edge on there, then you will probably get a catch. So it is a case, you can usually dig in fairly hard, spin the whole handle around on the one point as you go across, so that you'll try and run the bevel across the bottom, and then you can slowly come out. Like I say, this is my way of doing it. I could be totally wrong. Others may suggest something totally different, but it works for me. I feel safe with it, and that's the important thing. Everybody will have probably a slightly different grind on their gouges. They will use different tools, and it's just really what you find comfortable. So I'm going to start this now. Hello and welcome everyone, it's Paul here. Today's project, this little thing. I started off with basically grabbing one of the first pieces of wood I bought from the local mill and decided to make something in the lines of this out of this. Originally I hadn't planned on the overall curved shape, but as it progressed it just seemed to suit it. Now, before I even started I had plans of obviously creating the lid, and therefore wanted to try and keep the grain matched as possible, which is why I started off between centres, tried to part off the middle bit because the piece was too thick to fit through my bandsaw, and then progressed from there. The base, the bowl, quite nice and chunky. It's probably maybe up to about 10mm thick on the walls, because you've got a mortise in the bottom. The very centre of the base there is probably down to about 4mm, something like that. So it's still nice and sturdy. It turned really well. I was really pleased with it. Decided to put a bit of detail in the bottom. When I went to the lid, again that was fairly easy, and I think as you see on the video, made the lid nice and the base nice and flat. Put in the mortise again in the bottom, detail lines and everything, and I suddenly realised, oh, I need to cut the lip to drop it actually into the bowl. The knob, this time, rather than going for a finial, my wife for some reason doesn't like finials, so I thought, right, this time I will actually go for a knob, and I think it does suit the lid quite well. It's Spalted Beech for the bowl, the lid, and I think it's Indian Rosewood for the actual knob. I got a piece of that for Christmas. I think it was about 400mm long, and I just basically chopped off a piece that I wanted, just to turn down. And it's quite interesting actually, because on this project I think I've just about used most amounts going possible. Started off between centres, cut that off into the jaws of the chuck. Same for the lid. When I started turning that was into a screw chuck, and then finally for the knob it was a glue block. So it's actually been quite interesting. I think the only thing I actually haven't done is actually change jaws. So everything there has had a couple of coats of sanding sealer after it was sanded to 240 grit. Then it was giving the Yorkshire grit treatment. First time I've actually used that for a while, other than probably on my last little box I made. And then given a couple of coats of wood wax 22, which I've got to say I'm really pleased with the result. It's really smooth, it's come up really nice, it's got a slight sort of shine to it. And what was interesting as well was I wasn't sure what this was going to come out like. If you look back obviously at the beginning of the video, before the sanding seal and everything went on, when you first cut through it, it looked fairly dull, spalting. It really did look something very light like that, without any real dark lines. And like I say, I wasn't sure what it was going to come up like, and after I applied the sanding sealer, I've got to say the thing that this probably reminds me of more than anything, I mean it must be daft or something, but it's like a leopard skin without the black dots. So I don't usually name my pieces, and I'm calling this a lidded bowl because that alone is a finished bowl on its own, and it's obviously just got a lid on the top, so it's not, even though it could be classed as a box. So I'm going to call this my Leopard lidded bowl, and I've got to say thoroughly enjoyed turning this. It really was nice. The lid has got a very slight wobble on it, and I didn't want a tight fit. I did actually have to go back and just take the edge down a little bit so that it actually had that, so that at least it can just drop on there nicely. I didn't want a tight suction fit, and I think that suits it better. And you'll notice as well, I think when I turned the top, obviously I had a big inclusion in there, and I didn't want it. I mean, I could have made a feature of it, but I think had it been right the way through the bowl as well, then I would have probably done something with it. So that's why we've got this. I suppose it's an odd shape. I mean, it's probably fairly original, but again, to me it was sort of like, as I turned it down, that's sort of like where the wood took me. Just one last thing, obviously on that inclusion, and it's always certainly wise to wear a face shield for safety. I will usually wear the safety glasses for doing smaller items, like I think I did with the knob, because worst case scenario, you're not going to have something very big fly off. But when I was turning that lid down, I had that piece fly out. And you could say, well, yeah, it's an inclusion, you should probably expect that. But at the same time as well, it just highlights as well, at any time you could have something fly off the lathe. Fortunately, it flew straight to the back wall. Didn't actually come my way. But I'm pleased, certainly, that I was wearing a face shield. So, and again, as a wood turner, you're responsible totally for your own safety. So I'm just really showing what I do as a demonstration of how I produce things. It's not an instructional video, it's not for you to copy, not for necessarily the right way to do things. It's what I feel comfortable and safe doing. So if this is your first time here, I do a lot of different project videos. I try and do one a week to go on the channel, and please do subscribe. You'll at least get notified every time I upload one. For my existing subscribers, again, a big thank you very much, and any new subscribers, thank you as well for subscribing. I'd appreciate it if everybody could hit the like button, hit the share button, and please do leave some comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you on the next project video. Thanks a lot. Bye.